You came into this game hungry. Maybe it started with a spark, a video, a tweet, someone on Instagram flashing a $20,000 day with a few candlestick lines on their screen. You looked at the markets and thought, why not me? Why not now? And so you opened a trading account. Maybe it was just a demo at first. Maybe you dove in with real money right away. Either way, you entered this world with hope. And at some level, you believed the market would reward you because you tried, because you studied, because you cared. But then the trades started going the other way. You followed a setup, clean entry, tight stop, confirmation from RSI, and boom, red candle. Another setup, same result. You adjusted, you hesitated, you added new indicators. Still, the losses came. The frustration built. You thought, I've done the work. I've put in the hours. Doesn't this market know I'm serious? Doesn't it see how badly I want to win? Let me tell you something. Something most traders never fully accept. The market doesn't care. The market doesn't owe you anything. And the moment you expect it to give you something is the moment you lose. This series is not about strategy. It's not about indicators or Fibonacci retracements. This is about the one battlefield that decides everything in trading, your mind. Over the next 15 chapters, I'm going to walk with you through the illusions you've been sold, the traps you've fallen into, and the emotional baggage that's bleeding into your trades. We'll explore why you take revenge trades, why you hold losers too long, why you expect the market to pay you back, and most importantly, how to break that cycle. Because right now, you're not losing because of a lack of knowledge. You're losing because of the story you're telling yourself. This series will help you rewrite it, honestly, brutally, and with full emotional clarity. So grab your coffee, put your phone on silent, close the trading platform for a bit, and let's get real. This is Trading Psychology Unfiltered. And by the end of it, you won't just trade better, you'll think better. If this hits home already, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button because this channel is built for real traders like you. No fluff, no shortcuts, just the truth. And drop a comment below. Tell me, what do you think the market owes you right now? Let's talk about it. Chapter 1. You've been lied to. You sit in front of the screen again, don't you? The charts are glowing, your heart's pacing, you've got hope in one hand, frustration in the other. Maybe you're still clinging to that last trade, or maybe you just closed out a loser. Maybe you're waiting for the market to come around, to give you something back, to be fair. But here's the truth. The market doesn't owe you anything. It never did, it never will. And the sooner you understand that deep in your gut, the sooner you start trading like someone who finally woke up. Because if you're still stuck in that loop, thinking the market should reward your effort, your screen time, your strategy research, your sleepless nights, you're setting yourself up for a brutal, endless disappointment. You weren't lied to by the market. You were lied to by your own expectations. You thought if you worked harder, studied more, hustled longer, the market would eventually pay you. You thought success was linear, effort in, money out. Just like school, just like work. But this is the market, and the market doesn't care about your hard work, it doesn't care about your passion, it doesn't even care if you blow your whole account in a single candle. And that's not personal, it's just reality. You see, the market is like the ocean, massive, indifferent, powerful. And if you walk into the surf thinking the waves will part for you because you read a book on surfing, you're going to get knocked flat. So let's talk about the mindset that's been killing your trades. Entitlement. Yeah, I said it. You might not like the word, but deep down, there's a part of you that expects a reward for your time and effort. You've convinced yourself that you deserve a win. I've been patient all week. I should get a breakout now. I've lost 3 trades in a row. This next one has to work. I finally followed my rules. I better get paid for it. Sound familiar? You don't realize it yet, but those thoughts, that's your downfall. That's why you're losing. Because the second you expect the market to give, you stop listening. You stop reading price. You start forcing trades. You over-leverage. You chase setups that aren't there. You revenge trade trying to claim what you believe you're owed. And the market, it just watches. Unmoved, unbothered, unforgiving. Let me break it to you as clearly as I can. The market owes you nothing. Not your capital back, not a bounce, not a pullback, not even a second chance. The market isn't your mentor. It's not your parent. It's not your boss. It doesn't reward good behavior, and it doesn't punish bad behavior. It just moves. It's up to you to interpret, to adapt, to survive. You think you're fighting the market, but what you're really fighting is your own illusion of fairness. This delusion is subtle. It creeps in when you say things like, "I was right about the direction just early. I can't believe it stopped me out by 1 pip and then ran. This market is rigged." It's not rigged. It's just unconcerned with your opinion. The market isn't reacting to your emotions. It's reacting to the collective force of global participants, millions of them, moving capital based on data, greed, fear, algorithms, news, manipulation, randomness, and momentum. You're not owed a slice of that action. You earn it, one disciplined decision at a time with zero guarantees. Still with me? Good, because here's where things get real. If you want to stop losing, you have to kill the part of you that feels entitled to win. You have to trade like a scientist, not a gambler. You have to treat each trade as an independent event with uncertain outcomes. You have to size small enough that the outcome won't destroy you. You have to learn to lose gracefully. Not because you enjoy losing, but because you respect the game. When you drop the entitlement, something incredible happens. You stop needing the market to behave a certain way. You stop hoping for revenge trades. You stop making decisions based on emotion. And you start seeing things clearly. You begin to realize that trading isn't about being right. It's about managing risk when you're wrong. The pros, they lose all the time, but they lose with intention. They lose with control. They lose small. Because they understand the core truth. The market doesn't owe them either, and that makes them powerful. Now here's the uncomfortable part. If you're struggling right now, if you feel stuck in a loop of overtrading, overanalyzing, and underperforming, it's likely because your ego is still waiting for the market to give you something you haven't yet earned. Recognition, validation, a big win to prove you're good at this. But the market doesn't care how much you need it. It responds only to how well you manage what it gives you. So from this moment on, you've got a choice. You can keep trading like the market owes you something, keep blowing up, keep blaming external forces, keep sabotaging your potential. Or you can accept the reality. You are owed nothing, but you can win by letting go of the fantasy and embracing the grind. Not the hustle grind, the psychological grind, the one that demands discipline, emotional control, and ruthless honesty with yourself, because that's what separates the profitable from the broken. And you're about to choose which side you land on. Chapter 2. The Emotional Debt You're Carrying. Let me ask you something raw, something real. What do you feel when the market moves against you? Is it just a number on the screen? Or does it hit deeper, like a personal betrayal, a slap in the face, a reminder of all the times life didn't give you what you deserved? Because if you're honest, and I mean brutally honest, you're not just trading charts, you're trading your emotions, your past, your pride, your scars. You're carrying emotional debt into every single trade, and the market, it collects interest on that debt whether you realize it or not. You think you're trading setups, but what you're really trading is the need to be right, the fear of being wrong, the desperation to make it back. And that's dangerous. because that emotional debt shows up in the worst ways. It shows up when you hold a loser just a little longer, hoping it turns. It shows up when you double down on a bad entry out of revenge. It shows up when you can't walk away from the screen, even though you know you're bleeding slowly. Let me say something that might sting. You're not losing because your strategy sucks. You're losing because you're trading from a place of emotional imbalance. You're carrying too much weight into every click. And the market, it senses that weakness. The market isn't cruel. It's just a mirror. It reflects your level of control, or lack of it. When you believe the market owes you, you're not seeing clearly. You're seeing through a fog of entitlement, fear, and ego. You're reacting, not responding. And reaction is the enemy of consistency. Let me give you an example. You open a trade. It goes your way. You're up 1R. But instead of taking profit, you hold. Why? Because 1R isn't enough for all the pain you felt lately. You want more. You deserve more. And then it reverses, stops you out. And now you're not just back to zero. You're angry. You're hurt. So what do? You enter again, but faster, sloppier, with more size. Because deep down, you're not just trying to win the trade. You're trying to win the argument. The argument with the market, with yourself. But guess what? There is no argument. The market doesn't even know your name. It didn't betray you. It didn't trick you. It didn't get you. It just moved. And it moved in a way that exposed your expectations, your impatience, your emotional baggage. This is the part of trading no one wants to talk about. The part that feels less like technical analysis and more like therapy. Because you're not just fighting price action. You're fighting old stories. Stories that say, I'm only valuable if I'm winning. I'm not allowed to lose. I have to prove I can do this. You don't need more indicators. You don't need a better entry trigger. You need to release the emotional debt you've been trading with. How? It starts with radical ownership. You must own every decision, win or lose. No blaming the market, no blaming the news, no blaming liquidity grabs or fake outs or algos. Just you, your discipline, your process, your mindset. And when you lose, because you will, you treat it like paying tuition, not punishment, not injustice, just payment for growth. This changes everything. Because when you stop seeing the market as something that owes you, you stop needing it to behave a certain way. And when you stop needing it to behave, you finally see it for what it is. A landscape, a field of probability, a place where your edge either plays out or it doesn't. But it never owes you ever. You have to show up every day with zero expectations, zero entitlement, zero emotional debt. And I get it. That's not easy. You've been conditioned to expect reward for effort, to demand fairness, to find meaning in every outcome. But in trading, meaning is what gets you killed. You lose, and your mind screams, I'm not good enough. I always mess up. I should have known better. No. Stop. You're not your last trade. You're not your win rate. You're not the equity curve on your screen. You're a decision maker, a risk manager, a student of probability. You are a person learning how to operate in an unfair, uncaring, and unpredictable environment without losing your center. That's the real game. And most traders aren't even playing it. They're chasing dopamine. They're gambling with conviction. They're burning out silently because they haven't accepted the truth. So let me say it again. The market doesn't owe you anything. Not because it's cruel, but because it's just not capable of owing anything at all. It's not your friend. It's not your enemy. It's just there, moving. You decide how to move with it or how to destroy yourself trying to control it. One path leads to mastery. The other leads to madness. So which one are you on? Chapter 3. Stop expecting a paycheck. Let's be real. You wouldn't admit it out loud, but some part of you is still waiting for a paycheck from this game. Not a literal one, but a moment, a day, a breakthrough where everything clicks and the money just shows up because you've earned it. You've put in the hours, haven't you? Watched the YouTube videos, back-tested for weeks, stayed up till 2 a.m. analyzing charts. You've sacrificed time with family, you've stressed, you've journaled, you've committed. So where's your damn reward? Where's the return on your suffering? Where's the payoff for all the internal battles you fought just to stay disciplined for one more day? You feel like the market owes you because you've paid your dues. But I'll tell you something cold. Trading doesn't pay for effort. It pays for alignment. It pays for patience. It pays for execution over time. And sometimes it doesn't pay at all. Not for days, not for weeks, sometimes not for months. You could do everything right and still lose money. You could follow your plan perfectly and still have 3 red trades in a row. And when that happens, your brain screams, "This isn't fair! I did everything I was supposed to." Exactly. You did everything, and it still didn't work. Because this isn't a salary. This isn't a job. This is a battlefield of probabilities. No one's signing your check at the end of the day for showing up. And that's what drives people mad. You want certainty, validation, progress you can measure, proof you're on the right track. But in trading, those things are often invisible, for weeks, sometimes longer. You might be leveling up your mindset, your control, your system execution, and not see it in the P&L. And if you're still measuring your worth in green days or dollars, you're going to feel like you're failing. That's the trap. You expect trading to function like a job, when really it functions like farming. You plant seeds, you water them, you protect them from storms, and for a while, it looks like nothing's happening. But you're building roots, you're establishing structure, and if you stop showing up, if you abandon the field because the harvest isn't fast enough, you destroy the whole process. So here's the mindset shift. Stop expecting a paycheck. Start building a process. If you get paid today, cool. If you don't, so what? Did you execute your edge? Did you follow your rules? Did you take high-quality trades? Did you sit out when the market was choppy? That's your new paycheck. Because if you can stack those consistently, the money eventually follows. But if you chase the money, if every session is about trying to make up for yesterday, or trying to hit some imaginary goal, or trying to feel like you're finally a real trader, you lose your center, you lose your edge, and you lose your account. Think about it. Have you ever made a trade you knew was wrong, but you did it anyway because you hadn't made money all week? That's the paycheck mindset, the "I deserve this" mentality. The ego whispering, just one green day to prove I've still got it. And it always ends the same way. Regret, frustration, more emotional weight to carry into the next trade. The market isn't here to make you feel successful. It's here to expose where you're weak. And if you're still attached to the idea that trading is supposed to pay you on a regular basis, you're vulnerable. Because when it doesn't, you'll force it. And when you force it, you die slowly. One oversized position at a time, one broken rule at a time, one "I just need a win" trade at a time. Here's the irony. The second you stop expecting a paycheck, you start acting like a real trader. You stop pressing, you start protecting. You start thinking in terms of probability, not payment. You stop taking trades you need, and you start taking trades that are valid. You let the math work for you. You let time work for you. You let discipline buy you room to breathe. It's not sexy, it's not fast, but it's how you survive. The goal is not to make money every day. The goal is to make smart decisions every day and let the long-term edge take care of the rest. So the next time you sit at your screen and feel that hunger, that need for today to be the day, pause. Ask yourself, am I trading for consistency or am I trading for a dopamine hit? Because one of those is a career, the other is a casino. And no matter how many indicators you've got on your chart, if you're still looking for a guaranteed payout from an uncertain environment, you're not a trader. You're a dreamer. And the market doesn't owe dreamers anything. Chapter 4. The Seduction of Fairness. You keep looking for fairness, don't you? Somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this whisper, if I'm patient, the market will reward me. If I follow my rules, I'll get what I deserve. If I stay disciplined, the universe has to repay me eventually. But the market doesn't work that way. It's not a story with a moral ending. It's not a video game where you unlock a prize for doing the right thing. The market is chaos wrapped in illusion. And if you're still hoping for fairness, you're being seduced by a lie. Because fairness feels safe. Fairness feels human. Fairness feels predictable. But trading is not predictable, not in the way you want it to be. And deep down, you know this, but you still want to believe. You want to believe that if you lose 3 trades in a row, the next one is due. You want to believe that if you've been disciplined all week, you're owed a winner. You want to believe that if your setup appears clean, it must work this time. That's the seduction. Fairness gives you hope. Hope gives you attachment. Attachment blinds you. And blindness kills your edge. Let me ask you something bluntly. Have you ever seen a beautiful setup, your A+ signal, trigger perfectly, only to immediately stop you out? What did you feel in that moment? Betrayal? Frustration? Disbelief? Did you stare at the screen, jaw clenched, thinking, how could it do that? That wasn't supposed to happen. And then it gets worse. After stopping you out, the market does go in your direction. Without you. You watched it run, without you. And now you're angry, not at your strategy, not at your execution. You're angry at the market itself. Why? Because you think it wasn't fair. You think it played you. You think it's mocking you. But that's not reality. That's your psychology, craving control where none exists. The idea of fairness is your ego trying to negotiate with randomness. And randomness doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care how many hours you've studied. It doesn't care how much discipline you showed today. It doesn't even care if you journaled. It doesn't even care if you prayed. The market doesn't care. Period. So here's the truth you need to swallow, even if it burns going down. Trading is not fair. It was never meant to be. And if it were fair, it wouldn't be profitable. Let that sink in. If the market was fair, if every good setup won, if every patient trader got rewarded, if discipline was always met with green, then everyone would be profitable. And if everyone was profitable, there'd be no edge. And if there's no edge, you can't win. The unfairness is what creates the opportunity. It's the illusion of chaos that filters out the emotional, the gamblers, the impatient, the entitled. So when you feel that burning sensation inside, that voice that screams, "This isn't fair," that's your cue. That's your reminder that you're slipping into fantasy. You're trying to trade a story instead of trading what's in front of you. You've got to detach, not from your setup, not from your edge, but from the idea that the market should treat you fairly. Because if you don't let that go, you'll keep seeking justice in a place where justice doesn't live. You'll keep trying to get back what was taken, You'll chase, you'll overtrade, you'll throw revenge trades into the wind hoping the universe is listening. But the universe isn't watching your charts. You are. You're the only one responsible. And until you accept that the market is not designed to reward your goodness, it's designed to expose your weakness, you will stay stuck in emotional trades. So what do? You build resilience, not expectations. You seek consistency, not fairness. You learn to take a loss without writing a story about it. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "Did I follow my edge? Did I control risk?" That's power. That's freedom. Not freedom from losses. Those are inevitable. But freedom from needing the market to make it right. You want to be a trader? Then you must trade inside an environment that doesn't care about you and still maintain your discipline, your patience, your neutrality. That's what makes this game so hard, and that's exactly why it's worth playing. Because when you finally let go of fairness, you become dangerous. You stop tilting, you stop seeking revenge, you stop playing emotional games. And the best part? You start seeing the market for what it really is. Not fair, not cruel, just free. A landscape of endless opportunities for those who aren't trying to make it owe them anything. Chapter 5. The Hidden Cost of Being Right. Let me ask you something honest. Would you rather make money or be right? Think about it. Really think. Because most traders say they want profits, but deep down they crave something else. They crave validation. They want to be right. They want to look at the chart and say, "I knew it. I called that move. I told you it would break down here." But here's the problem. Being right and making money are not the same thing. In fact, chasing rightness can cost you everything. You've seen it in yourself. You take a trade. You're convinced it's going to work. All the stars align. The chart looks perfect. The entry is clean. You feel that quiet excitement building in your chest. This is it. But then, the market hesitates. It stalls. Maybe even reverses. Now you're underwater. A little, then more, then more. But you don't cut it. Why? Because you still believe you're right. Your ego is whispering, "Just hold, it'll turn, I know I'm not wrong. This is just a fake out, it has to go back. It can't stop me out here, not after that setup." But it does. It stops you out. Not just with red on the screen, but with a bruise to your identity. You weren't just wrong about the trade, you were wrong about yourself, about your certainty, about your control. And that stings more than the loss. So what do you do next? You re-enter. You double down. You try to prove your original thesis was right after all. And just like that, you've abandoned your rules, your risk plan, your edge, all because of your need to be right. That need is hidden. It's subtle. It pretends to be confidence. It disguises itself as conviction. But it's ego, pure ego, and it's destroying you quietly. Let me make this painfully clear. The market doesn't reward your ego. It doesn't care if you called the direction. It doesn't care if you predicted the breakout. It doesn't care if you saw the setup forming 3 hours before it happened. If your execution was off, if your risk wasn't managed, if your exit didn't protect you, then being right doesn't matter. Because trading isn't about calling moves, it's about surviving them. You could be dead right about the direction and still lose money. Why? Because your position size was wrong, because your stop was too tight, because your entry was early, because your patience gave out. In trading, being right is meaningless if you can't monetize it. So stop trading for pride. Start trading for process. Detach your identity from your predictions. Attach your identity to your behavior. Who cares if you were wrong? Did you manage risk? Did you respect your stop? Did you wait for confirmation? That's what matters. You want long-term success? Then kill the need to be right, because that need is toxic. It will make you ignore price. It will make you hold losers too long. It will make you re-enter emotionally. It will make you override your system. And worst of all, it will blind you. Because the more right you think you are, the more you stop listening to the market. You're not reacting anymore. You're arguing. You're pushing. You're fighting to make the chart align with your belief. And the market? It doesn't bend. It breaks you. So here's the shift. Start thinking like a scientist, not a prophet. A scientist doesn't care if the hypothesis was wrong. They care about the data, the test, the discipline of the process. You're not a fortune teller. You're a probability manager. And your power comes from not being right, but how well you handle being wrong. The best traders? They're wrong all the time. But they lose small. They cut quick. They adapt fast. They don't cling to their ideas. They don't worship their predictions. They let the market tell them what to do next. And you? You can start doing the same. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I don't need to be right today. I need to be responsible. I don't care about calling the top. I care about protecting my capital. I don't need to be a genius. I need to be consistent. Because that's what wins in the end. Not the flashy calls, not the perfect entries, not the I told you so posts. Just one thing. Controlled execution over time. That's it. So stop measuring your self-worth by how many trades go your way. Start measuring it by how many bad days you handled with grace, with control, with neutrality. That's what a real trader looks like. And the sooner you let go of being right, the sooner you start doing what actually works. Chapter 6. You think you're a trader, but you're just a fighter. Here's the hard truth. You think you're trading, but really, you're fighting. And not fighting in the disciplined, controlled, warrior monk kind of way. No, you're brawling, swinging wildly at your screen, throwing punches at the price like it insulted your family. You think this is a test of strength, but it's not. It's a test of stillness. You're in the ring every day, gloves up, adrenaline pumping, ready to prove something, to win something, to force something. But that's not trading. That's combat. That's survival mode. And the longer you stay in that state, the more exhausted, impulsive, and dangerous you become. Let me show you what this looks like. You take a trade. It goes against you. Immediately, your heart rate spikes, your breathing shortens, your screen zooms in, mentally, emotionally, you're locked in. You're not analyzing anymore. You're reacting. You're fighting. Come on, you whisper, turn around, don't stop me out here. If it just pushes back to break even, I'll close. Now you're bargaining. Now you're hoping. Now you're hooked. And when the candle finally hits your stop, you don't walk away. You reload, you re-enter, you fight back. Because you don't see the market as a flow anymore. You see it as an opponent. And you're out for revenge. You can call it whatever you want, re-entering, doubling down, trusting the setup. But deep down, you're not executing a strategy. You're defending your ego. You're trying to get back what was taken from you. As if the market personally came for you, as if price action itself had a grudge. It doesn't. But you do. You're a fighter, not a trader. And that mindset, it's costing you everything. Because when you're in fight mode, you can't see clearly. You're not patient. You're not objective. You're not present. You're swinging. And the worst part? You've normalized it. You tell yourself, that's just how trading is. It's an emotional game. I'm passionate. But none of that is true. You're not passionate. You're reactive. You're not emotional because trading is hard. You're emotional because you're still trying to beat the market into submission. And the market can't be beaten. It only moves. You don't conquer it. You move with it, or you suffer beneath it. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. Are you actually trading, or are you just fighting to feel in control? Because most losing traders aren't bad analysts. They're just emotional fighters in disguise. They know the setups, they know the strategy, but when things go wrong, they fight, they push, they spiral. Because they don't have a trading plan. They have a need to win. That need shows up in the worst ways. It makes you size up too quickly. It makes you skip confirmations. It makes you re-enter out of anger. It makes you chase. And every time you do, it feels like you're doing something, like you're taking control. But you're not taking control. You're bleeding. Quietly, emotionally, desperately. One fight at a time. So here's the shift. Real traders aren't fighters. They're listeners, observers, executors. They don't chase the market, they receive the market. They don't force trades. They wait for alignment. They flow with structure. Their edge isn't just their strategy. It's their presence, their stillness, their refusal to make it personal. You want to level up? Stop trading like you're in a war. You're not. You're in a dance, a rhythm, an environment of movement that you respond to, not react against. It's not about being aggressive. It's about being available, to act when the time is right, and wait when it's not. You don't need more strength. You need more stillness. You don't need to punch harder. You need to stop punching altogether. Because the market doesn't reward aggression. It rewards restraint. Discipline is not about pushing through pain. It's about knowing when to stop. So tomorrow, when you open your charts, ask yourself, am I showing up to trade, or am I showing up to fight? Because only one of those leads to survival. Only one of those leads to freedom. Only one of those builds the kind of trader you were always meant to become. The other just bleeds out quietly, pissed off, entitled, broke. You get to choose. Conclusion. So here we are. You've made it through all 15 chapters, and if you really listened, not just heard, but felt, then something has probably shifted inside you. Maybe now you can see how much of your trading frustration came not from the market, but from your own expectations of it. You expected a paycheck. You expected consistency. You expected fairness. But the market doesn't deal in fairness. It deals in probabilities. It doesn't care how much you lost yesterday. It won't make it up to you tomorrow. It won't apologize when you followed all your rules and still got stopped out. And that's not a bad thing. That's freedom. Because once you accept that the market owes you nothing, not profit, not predictability, not even a second chance, you become dangerous. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop trading from emotion. You start showing up neutral, clean, focused. And that's when the edge reveals itself. Not because you deserved it, but because you earned it through patience, discipline, and detachment. This isn't a one-time fix. You'll have to remind yourself of this truth often, especially when you're in drawdown or when you're tempted to make the market give it back. But now you know the truth, and once you know, you can't unknow. You're no longer a victim, you're a trader. So take a deep breath, close your eyes for a moment, and remember what you've learned here. The market doesn't owe you anything, but your growth, your control, your mindset, that's yours. If this journey resonated with you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to this channel, because I make videos like this for traders like you, the ones who care more about growth than hype. And leave a comment below. Tell me, what part of this series hit you hardest? Which moment made you stop and say, "That's me"? I read every comment, and I reply to many. Let's keep this conversation real. Thank you for being here. Now go back into the markets and trade like someone who knows the truth.